Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today I'll be doing the top 10 best horror movies of 1994. It's a bit of a strange year for horror films. It's not the strongest, that's for sure, but there's still some good ones, so let's get into it. Sit back, relax, let the show begin. Number 10 is Mosquito. This is a goofy little horror film that could be considered a horror comedy, but I say it's a horror film with bad acting and some goofy music cues that make it feel a bit hokey. The mosquitoes drink the blood of a dead unknown species and mutate. The creatures' design aren't the greatest, but there's some fun moments and death scenes. It gets better as the film progresses, that's for sure. I like the small isolated campground location. You even got the original Leatherface, Gunnar Hansen himself, take on the deadly mosquitoes with a chainsaw. Overall, it's a decent B-type horror flick. The full movie's on YouTube, check it out. Number 9 is Pumpkinhead 2, Blood Wings. It's a decent sequel. The acting isn't the greatest, but the makeup effects are awesome. The look of Pumpkinhead and the kills are very well done. There's even a fun scene where Kane Hodder encounters Pumpkinhead, and the film stars Andrew Robinson from Hellraiser. We even get a bit of a backstory involving Pumpkinhead's son. Overall, it's a solid horror film, and the full film is on YouTube. Check it out if you haven't seen this one yet. Number 8 is Leprechaun 2. I've always loved Part 2. It didn't do well at the box office, but I enjoyed the cast. I love the Los Angeles filming locations, and Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun is a blast once again. I've always enjoyed the beginning where they're giving dark side tours for tourists around LA. Clint Howard and Kimmy Robertson have a small fun scene at the beginning as the tourists. There's some great kills as well, like when the pot of gold comes out of Morty's stomach. Ouch. Leprechaun 2 is a good little horror film that I still revisit often today. Number 7 is Brain Scan. It's a fun one about a teenager played by Edward Furlong who plays a new video game where you take on the perspective of a killer while he murders someone. But the murders turn out to be real. The host of the game is Trickster. He's a fun character. There's lots of crazy scenes. It's not a terrifying film, but I always enjoy the story. I just wish the execution was a bit better. But still a movie that I enjoy revisiting today. Number 6 is The Paperboy. It's a great hidden gem. It stars Mark Maru as Johnny the Paperboy. He's a lunatic. Kills the old woman living next door, and Alexandra Paul from John Carpenter's Christine plays her daughter coming back for the funeral. There she's comforted by the longtime friend played by William Catt from Carrie and House. Johnny tries to be part of the family, but they become annoyed with him, sending him out of control. It's an awesome Canadian horror film. The full movie is on YouTube. Definitely give this one a watch. Number 5 is Interview with the Vampire. This was a big budget, massive box office hit, and probably should be at least in the top 3, but nostalgia plays a big part in my upcoming picks. Interview with the Vampire is filmed beautifully. It's got an all-star cast of Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Kirsten Dunst, Antonio Banderas, and Christian Slater as the interviewer. Slater interviews Brad Pitt as he recounts how he became a vampire in the 1700s and his journey to the present day. It's a great film. I love the scene where you think Tom Cruise is dead, but he shows up playing the piano. That scene is so well done. I love the atmosphere and the costume designs. It's not my favorite vampire flick, but it's definitely one of the best ever made. Number 4 is Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. I've always loved the third installment, and during production they thought they would have a theatrical release, but ultimately Universal decided to release it direct to video. But it did eventually get a brief run in select theaters. I enjoy the cast all around, especially Reggie. And mysteriously the 4-barrel shotgun reappears, but I'm fine with that. Reggie is great. There's one scene where he's in bed with Rocky, and he asks her if she ever tried vanilla. Good old Reg. I like the 3 criminals more when they're alive and trying to break into the kid's house, but when they're dead, it's a bit too comical. And also, this film has one of the greatest car accidents when stuntman Bob Ivy would flip the hearse going around 100 miles an hour. That scene is insane. Phantasm 3 is a blast. Number 3 is The Stand. Based off Stephen King's massive book, The Stand is a 6-hour TV movie with a huge cast and many filming locations. It doesn't hold up as good as it used to, but I've always loved it since the first time I saw it. Filming for The Stand took over 6 months with Mick Garris directing. If you didn't grow up with this film, you might find it outdated and long. For me, it's a great journey, and I love when there's only a few people left, some good, some bad, and you have to find each other and restart civilization. They also have to make their final stand in the ultimate battle of good and evil. I love this film, but I'd understand if you didn't. Number 2 is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I didn't like this one growing up when I first saw it, but I really enjoy this one nowadays. Wes Craven brings a fresh take to the series. I love the LA filming locations, and it's great that Heather Langenkamp returned. Robert Englund as Freddy is always legendary, but it's kind of cool to see him play himself in the film. I love the talk show scene where Freddy appears and the crowd is cheering. I also love the highway sequence near the end of the film. I know fans either love it or hate it, but I've grown to love it. It's definitely not better than the original classic, but it's way better than Freddy's Dead. New Nightmare is a solid horror film. Number 1 is John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. Such a great title, and along with Vampires, I think it's his best film of the 90s. Sam Neill plays an insurance investigator who is hired to find writer Sutter Kane. I love the whole road trip sequence to Hobbs End, especially the scene where they hit that creepy guy on a bike. When they get to the town and locate Sutter Kane, Sam Neill doesn't like what he has to tell him. He's basically just another character in his book, and he has no control over his actions. He is a written character, and when he realizes that, he cracks. It's a great underrated film with a great story and atmosphere. John Carpenter delivers another great score as well. I love this film, it's excellent. Anyway, so that's the list, guys. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.
I'm just a sitting here at midnight, and I'll be sitting here till noon. You see, my lady left me lonely. Yes, she did. Baby left me blue.
The funeral is about to begin, sir.
Good day.